Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with a brief introduction. So welcome everyone to the final event of this year's UCI School of Physical Sciences SciComm series. The goal of this series is to provide opportunities for people and in our school and beyond to learn from science communication experts about effective strategies for communicating science and creating excitement about science. Today, we're very fortunate to have Dr. Peyam here to share his expertise using YouTube to communicate mathematical concepts to broad audiences. Peyam received his PhD at UC Berkeley in 2016 and was also a visiting assistant professor at UCI from 2017 to 2020. He is currently a lecturer in mathematics at Arizona State University. And he has a YouTube channel known as Dr. Peyam, which has over 90,000 subscribers and 750 videos. In his spare time, he likes cooking and petting his bunny Oreo. So without further ado, take it away, Dr. Peyam.
Sure, no problem. All right, let's see. All right, so let's see if that works. Okay, so all right, thanks for watching. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my talk. My name is Dr. Peyam, and let me start by telling you a little story. So when I was a freshman at UC Berkeley back in 2006, I was sitting next to this guy, and we started chatting a little bit. And then once the semester was over, we parted ways. He went to SoCal. I stayed in Berkeley to finish my bachelor's and PhD. And then in 2017, I announced on Facebook that I was going to be a visiting assistant professor at UC Irvine. The same person messaged me and said, "Yo, Peyam, we should hang out." And when we did, I still remember I was sitting on this bench and he told me, "Peyam, you're gonna get a YouTube channel." I was like, okay. And with this, I would like to welcome you to my YouTube channel, Dr. Peyam, which has close to actually 92,000 subscribers and over 833 videos. On this channel, I present a variety of math videos ranging from calculus to linear algebra, all the way to partial differential equations. And some of my most popular videos include, first of all, a really cool way of solving quadratic equations that Portia and Lowe at Carnegie Mellon University taught me, but also things like the integral of x to the x from 0 to 1, the integral of 1 over 1 minus x squared, two ways, the half derivative of x, which we'll talk about in a second, but also things like the square root of a matrix. And in fact, I'm sure you're dying to see this. So here's a clip of my half derivative video, which is sort of like a square root of a derivative. So let's watch this. Let's continue. So what about dk, Donkey Kong, okay, of x to the n? It's the same thing, except you replace 3 by k. In other words, if you take the kth derivative of x to the n, you get n factorial over n minus k factorial times x to the n minus k. And you might say, oh, well, because we have this nice pattern, let's just extend it to the case where k is not even an integer anymore. So here's a guess. The half derivative of x to the n, well, it could be maybe n factorial over n minus 1 half factorial x to the n minus 1 half. And intuitively that makes sense, because if you differentiate once, 1 power comes down. If you differentiate twice, 2 powers come down. Well, if you differentiate 1 half, then just a half a power should come down. Okay, it's all good, except this doesn't make sense, right? What in the world is n minus 1 half factorial?
factorials, they're just defined for integers. So for this now,
all right, and if you're interested, you can watch this on my YouTube channel. Spoiler alert, it has to do with the gamma function, if you know what that is. Okay, let's see. And not only that, on my channel, I also have a lot of useful playlists which are ordered by topic or course. I have calculus playlists for 2A, 2B. I have linear algebra playlists for 3A, multivariable, so 2D, 2E, even some advanced stuff like analysis, complex analysis, even PDEs. And then real analysis, 140A, and also not featured 121A videos as well. And if you ever like, man, I wish I could see 12 ways of calculating the Gaussian integral, well, you're in luck because I have Gaussian integral 12 ways if you wish. And not only that, I even have videos in different languages. Let's see. No, not only that. I mean, I also have other fun videos like 111 linear algebra true false questions. So after I made that video, no students ask me true false questions anymore because there's so many of them, kind of like here.
So is it true that the null space is the span of this? Again, unfortunately false. And this is super important.
And again, you can watch this 4.5 hours special if you wish. And I even make videos in different languages. So here's one in Italian, which is funny because I don't speak any word of Italian. I just know Google Translate.
Grazie, benvenuti nella speciale edizione italiano dello spettacolo del dottore Peyam. Attenzione, non parlo una sola parola di italiano. Tutto questo è da Google Translate. Ma
okay, and again, you can watch this. It's funny, and I do miss that bush of hair. Yeah, I don't know where it went. But I also have other languages. So German, French, Finglish, Spanish, Russian, Greek, Japanese, Latin, Mandarin. Does anyone want to watch one of those videos? Is there a language you would prefer? Spanish, okay, let's see. This one's good. This one is like 12 minutes.
Brain HQ is a brain training program with online exercises that target core cognitive skills.
Hoy vamos a evaluar la siguiente integrala. Integrala de menos infinidad a infinidad de 1 sobre x cuadrado más 1 de x. Y es un integral muy gracioso porque...
Anyways, it's 14 minutes of improvised fun. That was fun too. Okay, then where was I? Where's my slides? Okay, there you go. Okay, now again, you can watch this also on my channel. And then, where did it go? Okay. All right, and last but not least, I have to show you this because it's quite hilarious. But if you know Steven Strogatz from Cornell, he even tweeted about me. And I don't know if it's an insult or a compliment. You can check it out. But what he says is the following. Let's see. I just discovered this new math channel, Dr. Peyam, low production value, high mathematical value. Which, again, it sounds like an insult almost, but it is actually true because it's surprisingly easy to make YouTube videos. It really means everyone can make YouTube videos. Let me repeat. You can make a YouTube video. You can make one. Yes, you. Even you can make one. And you have to understand, this comes from a true skeptic because I still remember in 2014, there was a student was telling me, Peyam, you should make a YouTube channel. And I was like, me? YouTube? Never. Okay. So just see how things changed in life. Yeah. I would never have thought I would make a YouTube channel, but Black Pen, Red Pen was that convincing. All right. And of course I can talk for hours. of course, I can talk for hours about my channel, but now let's go back to science communication a little bit. And let me first explain some creative ways I use my YouTube in my teaching, because that's one of my main roles to lecture. And also just to show you a little bit the pedagogical evolution of my channel. Because before, I just did YouTube for fun, kind of math videos, and didn't link it to my actual teaching until about fall 2018. And that's where, it was right before the final, I decided to do some review videos in form of a playlist. So it was all about vector calculus. And what I did, I just made a bunch of vector calculus videos that I put in a playlist. And I know some of you in the audience are probably nostalgic about this. Okay. And then I was like, hey, that was a good idea. So in winter 2019, when I did Math 3A here, so linear algebra, I went a step further and even decided to make mini videos based on my lecture notes. Kind of like here. So yeah. A lot of bunnies. I'm glad this website is still here from UCI. But what I did basically after class, since I had my lecture notes already ready, I would just make little videos based on what I did in lecture. And it was super useful for me, but also for the students who can prepare for the lecture. And not only that, in 2019 afterwards, I taught 121A and had a little teaching problem because there was so much material to cover that I didn't have time to make a review session. So what I did was, in fact, something even better, what I like to call a YouTube review session, because I would write down a bunch of problems and do the solutions via YouTube videos, which is amazing even for the students who couldn't come to the review session, which again was super, super useful. And then probably my favorite application of a YouTube channel, which I started back in fall 2019 when I taught Math 3A again. And you have to understand, that is before the pandemic. So I feel a little bit like a messiah. So in fact, Peyam means message. So I'm bringing you the Peyam of virtual office hours, which is basically like Zoom office hours, but through YouTube. So every Wednesday, let's say from 6:30 to 7, I tell my students and my friends, yo, I have virtual office hours, and send them a link. And once they click on the link, they're virtually teleported to my office.
Next winning number, 43.
Yes! But you can turn those off if you want.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up message quicker and is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
All right. So that was actually in
over x
2e
squared
in
plus y
font.
squared, and then x over x squared plus y squared. Let's show that Peyam is quixotic. So
QX equals PY. But look, this is really cool with those virtual office hours because the students see the chat, I can see the chat, and it's timed. And what I love about this is the students can actually rewind to the beginning of the office hours. So I never had the issue where the student asked the same question twice, because if I already answered it, I just say rewind to the beginning of it. So I thought that was really cool. And again, keep in mind, that was before the pandemic. And it was really in spring 2020 where my channel bloomed. Because once the pandemic hit, everyone was like, oh my God, virtual online system, how I'm gonna survive? But I was like, I got this. And in fact, that's what happened when I taught Math 140A in spring 2020, so real analysis. And what I did was actually quite a lot of work, but it was very rewarding. I did a bunch of lecture notes, very detailed lecture notes, and I made YouTube videos based on those notes. So for instance, if we talk about the field, then
all right, thanks.
I would make like lectures at home in front of the whiteboard about that topic. And by the way, I do advocate this thing about standing in front of a whiteboard and teaching like almost in person. It gave a nice personal touch to it. And Office hours were held via Zoom and via YouTube, but guess what? The YouTube office hours were more popular. All right, so that was how I use it in my teaching, and I'll go back to the main part of my talk very soon, but I do want to tell you a little story time. It's a little bit personal, but I really want to show you that YouTube changed my life in ways I did not expect. Because I am part of the LGBT community, and one of my biggest fears in my life was to come out. And in fact, for 31 years or so, I was afraid to come out of the closet. And little did I know, the solution to my problem was YouTube. And it's actually quite a beautiful story, because in my office, I have a pride flag. And one day back in 2019, my friend Black Pen Red Pen filmed me and accidentally filmed my pride flag. So this is actually the video.
Infinity minus arctangent of minus infinity, which I think gives you pi. But let's see how we can do this.
Right. And at that point, I was like, okay, my life is over now. But it was actually liberating and just a push I needed to come out. And I really hope this is some inspiration to some of you. Again, it's very nice. Okay. And now let's go back to the question of how YouTube helps you with communicating sciences. But I realized I did talk a lot. Does anyone have any questions? All right, well, let's talk some more. Okay, and now let's go back to the main question of how YouTube helps with communicating sciences. Because you may ask, why is my talk named Spreading the Math? Because with YouTube, you are literally spreading the math to the rest of the world. Because think of as follows. I did the YouTube at UC Irvine. And let's not just ask ourselves the question, what percentage of subscribers watch it from UC Irvine? Let's even ask the question, what percentage of subscribers do you think watch my channel from the US? So a little sondage, a little poll right now. What percentage of my subscribers do you think are from the US? Alexa is not bad. Yeah, in fact, well, okay, again. At 20, at 40. Let's see, 40, 50, 25, 20. Let me tell, actually not that, the 20% was not that, 18% of my viewers are from the US. The rest are from countries such as India, Germany, Brazil, United Kingdom, etc., etc. So literally the whole wild world. And not only that, people from all ages. I have some students, they're 10 years old and watch my vector calculus videos, which is crazy. So people who are 10 years old, all the way to people who are like 70 and 80 who just feel nostalgic about math. And they tell me, oh, I haven't done math in 30 years and you rekindled my interest in math, which I thought it's very nice. So that's one thing. So you're spreading the math. And not only that, it's very valuable within the math community itself because it brings the math community together as a whole. Because right now, I would say we're almost at the golden age of math channels because there's this whole surge in new math channels. Of course, there's the classical ones like 3 Blue, 1 Brown, Black Pen, Red Pen, but there are also a bunch of new ones that people created and kind of new ways of making math exciting, which I think is very cool. And another way of communicating within YouTube is definitely through collaborations. And collaborations means different things. Either you're literally in the same video as someone else and you just make a team video, or one thing that's also very popular is someone makes a video and you also send your part to it. And it's almost like a collage, like 2 videos put together. And in fact, let me show you this one that Black Pen Red Pen did with me, which I think was very well made. see if this works. One plus blah squared plus blah cubed, etc., etc. That's just a geometric series. So this just, so you see, kind of, that's what's called a collaboration video, where, you know, I send my part to his channel and he added this other part, and it's kind of a nice collaborative thing. And of course, you can also have guest videos, which literally just send your video to someone else and they promote it. But please do not ask me to promote you. It's not going to work. I'm not that popular yet. Okay, so that's what happened. And not only that, in terms of math, you can also present a neat math result you found. So for instance, my 100th video special was actually about my PhD research, like literally the PDE that got me the PhD, which is another way of spreading the math. And last but not least, okay, speaking of spreading the math, you can definitely also make videos on someone else's idea. Like, ironically, my most popular video was not my idea. It was about Po-Shen-Lo's idea about quadratic equations, which, again, I didn't steal it from him. He taught it to me, but it's like also a beautiful way of spreading the knowledge, if you like. All right. And now I know I talked a lot about me. And okay, and I'll keep this question for later. I will answer it. And enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about you, because how can you create your YouTube channel? And let me start with my recording setup, because the beautiful thing is there are two completely different types of setups that are equally as effective. One is what I like to call the traditional setup, which is kind of what I'm using. You can even see behind. And that's the best if you like me and you don't know any technology, because the minimum thing you need is a whiteboard, which you can find in either in a classroom, or Amazon has them for $150. It's a great investment. And a tripod. Also, Amazon has it. And finally, just your phone. Literally, if you have a phone, you can make YouTube videos. And surprisingly, they have the best camera quality, because I was also looking at cameras, and it turns out that, you know, the smartphone has the best quality anyway. And if you combine those, put your phone on a tripod and record, then the video you get is something like that I've shown a bunch of times. If it loads. Yes. All right, let's get stoked with Stokes' theorem. So today, I would like to present you the dark side of Stokes' theorem, where you use it to calculate a line integral instead of... Yes, and by the way, if you use a mic, it'll change your life. Once you use a mic, you really can't go back, to be honest. All right, and again, that's the most simple setup, and actually, in my opinion, more effective, because it gives you that personal touch. If you don't want to invest in this, there's an easier way of doing this, which is just completely virtual. All right. And all you need are the three things. So either I think you can use your iPad, I'm not sure, but what I use with my desktop is just a Wacom tablet. We can write stuff down. And at least on Windows, there's this thing called Microsoft Whiteboard, which is just a virtual whiteboard you can use. And to record, I just use this free program called OBS Studio. And if you combine those things, and what you get is a video like that.
All right, thanks for watching, and welcome to another tasty special, because today I will calculate the integral over a princess cake.
Yes, but again, what's nice is it's so much more legible, but it's a little bit less personal. So just in my opinion, those videos, people watch less than the other ones. Okay.
All right, thanks.
Dr. Peyam,
Yes,
there is one question that I think is relevant for right now.
Good.
But someone was asking, how do you light your room and or studio without having the light reflect off the whiteboard?
That's a good question because I have this issue. So I don't know if you can see this, but no, probably not. Well, give me 1 second. I can show you exactly what I use. I just have to bring it. This thing. So there's this light that you can use that kind of shines on you. And one second. Oh, where did it go? Oh. Yeah, so there's this light that, 1 second. So there's this light that you can buy from Amazon, also like $60 or something, and then it makes the light problem a bit better. But generally what I do, I try to record it when there's not much sun. I mean, you can already see now, like because the sun is setting here, there's already a lot of light. And they said really the best times to record is either early in the morning or sometimes in the afternoon where there's less sun. Or just go to a room like Roland Hall or something, and then the lighting is good too. Questions?
There are a few more questions,
Yes.
but
we can answer them later, I think.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
have like
There's-
10 more minutes of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, there's going to be time for
Yes.
full Q&A at the end.
Definitely. Okay. All right. And then I just want to give you two kinds of advice. So one, if in case you want to start a YouTube channel, so my main advice is be unique. Okay. Not like solutions to AX equals B or something, because you all have your own unique personalities, even if you don't know it. At first, I was like, I have no personality. What do you mean? And then I discovered my personality through YouTube. And your goal in the YouTube channel is to make that personality stand out. I mean, think of every channel you watch or even every TV series you watch, like Breaking Bad or something. Each show has its own personal flair. And your goal in your channel is to make that flair come out in some sense. And because of this, I highly recommend not to imitate another YouTube channel. For instance, don't try to be the next 3 Blue 1 Brown. There's already 3 Blue 1 Brown. There's no point of it. You have to be the next, well, I'm Dr. Peyam, but you have to be the next whatever your name is, because it's your personality. It's not 3 Blue 1 Brown's personality. But of course, you can get inspired by them, but definitely have something unique, where you stand out. And also, the biggest mistake I've seen people do when they start YouTube channels is to give up. Okay? The first year is gonna be very bad, okay? But you just have to persevere. Even if you think your video is bad, publish. I mean, don't publish more than twice a day, but definitely continuously publish, because that's how YouTube will get to know you. It's not really through collaborations or shout outs. It's really just by posting. And in fact, I know someone, I will not name him, but he had the same issue, but I told him just keep posting. And now he has 4,000 subscribers within a year, which again, for the first couple of years is very impressive. And another thing, okay, which I learned it the hard way, but you will never know which video will go viral. Don't be like, I'm going to click it and it's going to be the #1 video, because you will just be disappointed. And in fact, the Potion Low video, which I'm happy to show afterwards, I did not know that was going to be so popular. I thought it was just going to be like 1,000 view video, not 800,000. And all the people I talked about, they did not know that their most viral video will become viral. So definitely just post your video and let YouTube decide. And also, if you want to do it for the money, don't do it. There's so many better things you can do, because let me tell you, so after 4 years, on my most popular month, which was January, I made $50 per day. Okay. I could tutor for $50 per hour and have much less work. The reason I'm doing YouTube is because I'm passionate about math and about talking. That's why I like it, but not for the money. If you do it for the money, you will lose motivation very quickly. And finally, one thing though, I'm very bad at this, but Black Pen Red Pen is very good at this, is to go with the trend. And in fact, it's quite interesting. I was having a conversation with him, and before, the main trend was to pose integrals. And he told me, no, integrals are dead. What people like now are complex numbers. So you always have to watch out for the new trend that is going on. And not only that, right now, very trendy are YouTube Shorts, which is like TikTok, but for YouTube. And in fact, let me show you a nice video, kind of a nice interlude to see what it looks like. See, it's almost like a little math snack or something, like eating a little cookie. Yeah, those are what shorts are. All right, and then let's see. All right, and then finally, so this last thing I'll talk about, just some general advice just for teaching, or if you ever want to present something. So definitely on YouTube or even on teaching, your first year is gonna suck, just to say it, but you will get better at it. I still remember my first year, I was so nervous. And in fact, I remember I was sitting next to this student and I told him, oh my God, I'm so nervous. And he thought I was a fellow student. So he was like terrified when he found out I was the TA and saying I was nervous. But it's gonna be bad, but then later you'll laugh at it because you'll become so much better. And also for YouTube, if you make a video, make sure to be direct and dive right into the topic. In fact, my title is Spreading the Math, but it could also be Selling the Math, because on YouTube, you are selling the product that is math in some sense. And of course, you should prepare, but actually don't over prepare, because if you make a YouTube video too many times, people see that you're exhausted. Okay, and I would say kind of maybe the third time is the charm, because even if you make small mistakes, people will just think it's cute or something. Yeah, and a big problem I do a lot is like, make sure to look at the camera and don't cover the whiteboard. I know for left-handed people it's harder, but try not to do that. And finally, last thing I'm gonna say, has anyone told you that you're awesome today? Because you are, and your goal in a YouTube channel is to make sure to make that awesomeness shine. And with that said, I would like to thank you for listening to my talk. It's been such a pleasure being invited at UCI, which I really consider to be my second home after Berkeley. And of course, if you like this and want to see more math, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for such a wonderful talk.
Thank you.
So now we have space for more questions. There's already a few that popped up during the talk that we can start with.
Yes.
So first, do you do anything to publicize your channel? And if so, what do you do?
What exactly do you mean with publicize the channel?
I guess any ways that you try to like get other people to subscribe or to know about your channel.
Well, okay, first of all, I was actually in this very interesting situation, because I was extremely lucky that Black Pen Red Pen actually publicized me. Because a lot of times the way I actually started is he started posting videos of me on his channel. And then actually I created my YouTube channel, which is actually quite hilarious, because when I started my channel, I had no videos, but 500 subscribers. Because everyone was so excited for me to open my channel. But other than that, I mean, I'm very bad at publicizing, to be honest, but at this time, I just post videos hoping that YouTube will just notice me. And also collaborations, like, you know, collaborating with Black Pen, Red Pen, maybe collaborating with other people. Yeah. And of course, my students also, I'm all like, you know, you want to study for the final, check out my videos. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
And then also somebody had said, hi, Dr. Peyam. I enjoyed all the YouTube services you gave to us during my time at UCI. I'd like to ask about the time commitment you need to make for these videos and what advice or tips you can give to other professors on making YouTube videos.
Yes, so I have to tell you, it is a time commitment. Okay, so it's nothing trivial, but for some reason, I love it so much that I don't feel the commitment that much. So what I did at UCI every Sunday, I would like block 4 hours of my time just to record and everything. Okay? And not only that, I mean, I talked about recording, but that's just half the battle, because another half is making a thumbnail. You know, the little pictures you see on the YouTube videos? That's like 50% of the video already, because you just need to make people click on that video. So that's also an extra time commitment. That said, the beautiful thing is it's not something regular. So what you can do is sometimes make a lot of videos and then not post any videos for a while. And in fact, the funny thing is there's some videos I'm still posting from UCI. I still have some real analysis videos left. Yeah.
Great. And then what other sort of advice do you have for professors on making YouTube videos?
Oh, so okay. Also, yeah. A lot of videos I've seen was just a professor's hand writing solutions. Make sure to at least see your face. As I said, my favorite thing is just literally seeing the professor in front of the whiteboard doing the lecture. That's so incredibly effective, especially during those online times and everything, because it gives you at least this personal touch for it. And of course, you know, the usual advice, make sure to be clear, write legibly, you know, one line at a time and everything. But, yeah.
Awesome.
And then also, sorry, I forgot, like,
yeah.
also like make sure to split it into smaller segments. Like 5 10-minute videos are so much more effective than one 50-minute video. It's crazy.
Oh, that's actually, yeah, somebody else had asked, is there an ideal length of time for a video presentation?
Yes, 8 minutes. I'm not kidding. Yeah. Actually, I know that because YouTube started like allowing you to post 2 ads when you make 8 minutes. And I think it seems to be the new length of time, because before it was okay to post hour-long videos, but now no one's gonna watch those anymore. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, so speaking of ads, somebody else is asking, how do you actually add ads to a video?
Oh, okay. So it's very interesting. So you can either say, I don't want any ads. Okay. You can say, I want an ad at the beginning of the video. I want an ad at the end of the video. And you can even say, hey, I want an ad at like 10 minutes. So it's all manual. But of course, the problem is if you see too many ads on the video, then people will also not watch it. And surprisingly, it's also, in my opinion, it's just the first ad at the beginning that matters. The rest, they don't give you any money, really.
Somebody was asking about when you make a mistake while you're filming.
Yes.
Is it going to be better to edit that out, or should you have like text on the screen fixing it, or should you refilm it?
Just edit it out. I mean, that's a nice thing. So it depends. So when I make a mistake when filming, I just stop and then say the same thing again. And then when I edit the video, I just cut that part out. Except sometimes I forget to cut it out. And no. And then someone wrote like Peyam.exe stopped working. No, but it's okay. I'm saying, like, don't be embarrassed to make mistakes. Of course, try to minimize the mistakes, but it happened to me so many times, and then people will just comment that there's a mistake, and that's it. Yeah.
So, great. There's another question, and I kind of had like a related question myself,
Yes.
but someone was asking, do you think you're going to run out of math topics for YouTube?
Never. That was my biggest fear, but I can show you. I have this whole list. I mean, I wonder if I can even find, I'm not sure if I can find it, but I have this whole list of 200 videos I still want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and it's crazy. Like, the more videos you make, the more ideas you get. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, as kind of my personal question, what do you do to come up with like ideas for videos? What do you decide to make videos about? And where do you find like these interesting problems like the half derivative?
Well, sometimes I find the videos on the UCI Instagram page. They're very nice ideas. No, I mean, okay, that's true. Those creative ideas I don't always get. Like, sometimes those are rare, but then always, if there's an integral, sometimes you literally just Google interesting integrals and you find one. And it seems people don't care that you do something someone else has already done. Yeah. And then this, and then Putnam exam has a nice source of problems, or even when I teach, sometimes I find a nice exam question and I do that. So, and of course, all the classical things, like sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to do some PDE topic. So I open up Evans's textbook and then do something on that topic. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there a particular app that you use to edit your videos?
Well, actually, I just use the iMovie app on the iPhone. This one is surprisingly good. Either that, or also on YouTube, you can edit stuff out. And also Black Pen Red Pen suggested me Video Leap, but I never really use it. Yeah.
So you can do like all of your video editing like just on the iPhone?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It's insane. Yeah, you can see I want to cut this out, do that. Yeah. And it works perfectly. Yeah. As I said, I never realized how good those smartphones were until I started doing YouTube. Yeah.
This one's a little bit of a broad question, I think,
yes.
but where do you feel that your channel fits in the math YouTube community?
Yes, interesting. I consider myself the Black Pen Red Pen of advanced math. Okay, and basically my specialty is kind of multivariable calculus, linear algebra, but also maybe some PDEs and stuff, kind of like more advanced. That's I'm very happy that my channel grew, because it just means that more people are interested in advanced math. Because there are already so many calculus channels. I can't compete with those, but like, yeah, this one is very, very happy about it. Yeah. But then the only problem is they think somehow I know all of math. So they always ask me like to solve abstract algebra problems, which I don't know anything about. Yeah.
So are there abstract algebra math YouTubers?
Yeah, Michael Penn is also quite amazing. He started last year or something. He has like 130,000 subscribers, and he does more abstract algebra and number theory. Yeah, but I consider myself more analysis and PDEs, like that kind of flair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did say before we started that there's one more talk, more question.
Yes.
So do you use a mic on your shirt, or is the mic mounted on your phone?
Basically the mic, it's both mounted on the phone, so it goes down here, and then it goes just on my shirt. Yeah, it's so easy. No, definitely get the mic. I mean, once you use it, you're like, wow, it makes a huge difference. Yeah.
And then can we see Oreo?
Thank you for reminding me. I almost forgot. Sure, 1 second. Hello. Thanks for watching.
She's very cute.
Wait 1 second. All right. And then,
I had another question, but
Yes.
how you mentioned talking about making collaborations with other YouTubers.
yes.
How do you go about like coordinating with other YouTubers or like reaching out to them in the first place? Do you just like find their email and kind of like cold email that, or
Yeah, it's basically, I mean, I'm kind of fortunate. Unfortunately, now it's like the opposite. It's people ask me to collaborate with them. Yeah. But if I had to, I would ask. I mean, there are a couple of channels I really like Michael Weselcouch or Mu Prime Math. And then, in theory, I could just ask them, hey, do you want to do some collab together? And so, yes. And then basically what we'll do, I mean, we don't even, that's a beautiful thing. You don't even have to meet in person. You just make your portion, they make their portion, and somehow you combine them. And I think there was also a request to show the push and low video. I'd be happy to show that if you want.
yeah, there are a couple more questions still popping
sure.
up.
Yes.
So someone said that they currently have around 40-ish subscribers, and they're asking that when your channel is really small, how do you get your channel out there? Is it just upload?
Yes. Upload. And especially, at least in my experience, it does not help. It does not help for me to ask to promote you. I did that once for a professor at ASU, and I helped his channel go from 200 to 250 subscribers, which is not that much, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then so with, you're saying that like the best way to really like increase your subscribers is to upload more. So then should you be advertising your channel on different social media sites, or
I would first focus on uploading on YouTube. And then maybe once your channel reaches 1,000 subscribers, you can make an Instagram or like, Twitter or something. But that's for later, I would say. First, start by posting, and then you can worry about this other stuff.
okay, awesome. I think there's a break in the questions for now, if you wanted to share your other video.
Question. I like this one. Again, I remember I had this interview at Carnegie Mellon University, and then I found this about push and low. And let me see, 1 second. Yes. And then I was like, this is so amazing. I have to do a YouTube video on this. So let me see. All right, thanks for watching. And today I would like to tell you about the formula that will seriously change your life. And I'm not even kidding. After watching this video, you will never use a quadratic formula ever again, because this is way better. And just a little disclaimer, I did not come up with this. It was Push and Low, who's a professor at Carnegie Mellon University, who came up with this method. And by the way, he's one of the nicest people I ever met. Super, super humble. And another disclaimer though, he also did not come up with this. It was actually known in ancient Babylonian times. And for some reason, it got tarnished with the quadratic formula. I don't know why, but let me show you now the awesome method. suppose you're trying to find the zeros of x squared minus 6x plus 8. Well, if you try to factor this out as x minus x1 times x minus x2, so where x1 and x2 are the roots, then you get the following. So this becomes x squared minus x1 plus x2x plus x1 times x2, which tells you the following thing. The sum of the roots, which is just x1 plus x2, equals 6, and the product or product of the roots, which is x1, x2, equals 8. Now, here's the point where most people stop, but Porchenlot went one step further. Namely, here's the following clever observation. If the sum of the roots is 6, then the midpoint, which is x1 plus x2 over 2, so the average, so in particular, if, let's say, x1 is the left root and x2 is the right root, then the midpoint between the two is 3. And then you can watch this, but the idea is, so the midpoint is 3, and then the two roots, they're the same distance apart, and then if you multiply that, you actually get an easier equation for the roots. It's basically Vieta's formula and kind of a hidden version of the quadratic formula. But I did think it was very, very cool. Yes. Oops. Sorry, let me share that. Let me share the screen. Yeah. And again, you can check it out if you want. It is my most popular video, but I also think my most hated video, because I get a comment every day saying, hey, it's just a quadratic formula. What are you talking about? But the cool thing is now, apparently when you YouTube quadratic formula, this comes up. So I'm that famous now.
So there's a couple more questions that popped up. Someone was asking, should I make a channel just based on all school subjects?
It might be a bit broad. So I think kind of, as they say, find your niche. You know, it's like have something specific. Of course, not too specific. I mean, I would be amazing if I could make a channel on nonlinear PDEs, but I don't think a lot of people will watch it. Kind of find something kind of specific, like calculus is specific enough, or even linear algebra. Yeah.
And then besides your very flamboyant and instructive channel, what other math channels would you suggest to watch?
Well, I mean, definitely 3 Blue 1 Brown. That's like, I mean, the creme de la creme of YouTube channels. And Mathologer, of course, Number Fill, always amazing. They have some very famous professors there as well. But of course, Black Pen, Red Pen is amazing. And then I don't know how to spell TBES, TIBEES, also amazing. And then Thematica, there's also this one guy, he's 15, but he makes videos on manifolds. Yeah. And then Thematica is great. And then Mu Prime Math, also amazing. There's so many. Yeah. And in fact, if you go to my channel, I have some suggested channels that you can also watch. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And of course, recently Michael Penn is also great.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're just about wrapping up. I don't know if there's any last minute questions that'll come in. But I did want to say just again, thank you again for your fantastic talk. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you for joining us today. This talk will be recorded and posted on the UCI School of Physical Sciences YouTube channel, probably within 48 hours. And our next year's SciComm series lineup will be announced in the summer. So.
Perfect. Again, thank you so much for inviting me. Yeah, it's so good to be back in some sense.
Yeah, and lots of comments saying that, thank you, Dr. Peyam, you're the
Aw.
best. And someone said that your Italian is perfectly understandable.
Grazie. I'm not the best. I'm just pie amazing. Good.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you again. It's so great.